In the headlines, Atiku Abubakar, People's Democratic Party leaders take protest against election outcome to INEC office. 3 days after Supreme Court judgment, traders still rejecting old Naira notes. Gunmen kill pastor, 2 sons in Plateau community. Away from Nigeria, at least 12 civilians killed in northern Burkina Faso attack. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, alongside other PDP leaders and supporters on Monday led a protest to the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to express their grievances over the outcome of the presidential elections. The protest was the party's way of registering its dissatisfaction with the conduct of the poll, which returned APC's Ahmed Bola Tinubu as president-elect. Noel Samson reports.
The
protest, which brought PDP supporters across the country, was led by the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. The protesters walked from one of the party's offices in Abuja to the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters to show their displeasure over the presidential elections result.
The candidate of our party, the People's Democratic Party, he represents millions of Nigerians who wish for a better governance, who pray for a nation where equal opportunities will be open to everyone, a nation where the people will be happy to enjoy governance through restructuring. All of the things that we sold in our campaign, they believed it, they accepted it, they assimilated it, and they came out en masse and in millions to vote. And unfortunately, even though we have on the evidence of the result sheets a duplicate copy of all the result sheet given to our agent at the polling unit, yet if you see the INEC National Coalition, you would see where they would tabulate numbers, and when you come down to the total, different. You will see places where the names of individuals from different parts of the country. You will see where they will say there's a biometric taken on somebody, and yet the background of the biometric picture is somebody who snapped at the comfort of his house. You will see where they sow the stronghold of PDP and they create violence so that people will not come out to vote. These are some of the problems that has now informed our decision to come here and to tell the world democracy is under threat.
We're here for justice to prevail so that the mandate of His Excellency Atiku Abubakar will be given back to him.
INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voters Committee, Festus Okoye, addressed the protesters on behalf of the commission.
I want to assure you that this commission is a listening commission. This commission is a public trust, and this commission belongs to the Nigerian people. Our allegiance is to the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This commission does not have allegiance to any political party. We don't have any allegiance to any candidate. Our allegiance is to the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Whatever grievances there are, we will look into all those grievances. If there are grievances that can be redressed, we will redress those grievances. But I want to plead that all of us should continue to be peaceful, all of us should continue to respect the integrity of the commission and also the integrity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The PDP is hopeful that the party will claim its mandate, which it alleges was wrongly given to the ruling party through the judiciary. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission is asking the Presidential Election Petition Court to vary the orders which were earlier granted the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party, Peter Obi, to inspect materials used for last presidential election. In a motion on notice filed on March 4th, the electoral body is praying the court to vary the order which restrained it from tampering the materials used for the election. The commission said it needed to reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system for the next round of elections. The Court of Appeal, Abuja, had on February 3rd granted the request of Obi and Atiku to have access to all the sensitive materials INEC deployed for the conduct of the presidential election held on February 25. The applicants urged the court to compel INEC to allow them to obtain documents in its custody that were used for presidential election. They maintain that the requested documents will aid their petition against the outcome of the presidential contest that was declared in favor of the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu. Now, following the outcome of last Saturday's presidential election, the Center for Transparency Advocacy is appealing to Nigerians to exercise restraint and avoid violence. Executive Director of the Center, Faith Nwadishi, who called on all aggrieved parties to seek legal redress, also expressed her organization's dissatisfaction with INEC's prosecution of the election. The CTA added that though disappointed, the election still had its peculiarities.
Nigerians strongly believe that the BVAS will be the real game changer. The BVAS only worked well to the extent of accreditation and perhaps showing the actual voting strength in Nigeria. The reason why we specifically picked the BVAS was that the BVAS was the instrument of magic that we all looked forward to. Considering the magic that the BVAS had done during the Osun and the Ekiti election, we were looking forward to that. But there were complaints about the BVAS not working, the BVAS not capturing fingerprints, just about 24% of the areas. And these were areas where elections were held. It's important to know that some things went well in this election despite the avoidable challenges. This election could go down in history as staging upsets in areas traditional to certain politicians. Some perceived strong politicians were roundly defeated in their strongholds. Sitting governors lost elections to little-known politicians, and unexpectedly, some less politically fancied Nigerians were elected to the National Assembly.
The Supreme Court has affirmed Dauda Lawal as the authentic governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Zamfara State. In a unanimous judgment, the 5-man panel of justices dismissed an appeal brought against the nomination by another governorship aspirant, Ibrahim Gusau. In the lead judgment delivered by Justice Adamu Jauro, the Supreme Court upheld the submissions of the counsel to Lawal, Damian Dodo, that his client was legally and lawfully nominated in line with the provisions of the law. Justice Jauro upheld the judgment of the Court of Appeal, Sokoto, which had on January 6 this year endorsed the second primary election that produced a candidate. Lawal had in the primary election polled 442 votes to emerge victorious over Dr. Ibrahim Gusau and other aspirants. The youngest brother of the assassinated Labour Party candidate in Enugu East senatorial election, Kelvin Chukwu, has been nominated as successor to his brother. Oyibo Chukwu, a former Nigerian Bar Association chairman in Enugu State, was murdered on Wednesday, February 22nd, 3 days to the presidential and National Assembly election while on his way from a campaign rally. The Independent National Electoral Commission has slated the Enugu East senatorial election to hold on Saturday, March 11, alongside the gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections. The younger Chukwu was elected the Labour Party standard bearer after polling 223 out of the 231 votes. His opponents, Chinyeka Oha, a retired permanent secretary, Chief Stanislaus Chinedu Neji, commandant of the National Peace Corps, and Emmanuel Uchenna Bodo, a special advisor to Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, scored no votes in the election conducted by Labour Party National Vice Chairman for the Southeast, Chief Agumba Okeke, and the LP Enugu State Chairman, Casimir Uchenna Agbo, and other LP executives in the state. Kelvin Chukwu, a 50-year-old lawyer, mass communication graduate and businessman, pledged in his acceptance speech to represent the senatorial district effectively and fulfill all promises made by his elder brother during the electioneering campaign. Now, despite the Supreme Court ruling that old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes are still legal tender, fuel stations, supermarkets and market women are still rejecting the old Naira notes. Maradia Umar reports that most commercial banks in the FCT are neither releasing the notes to customers not accepting them as the scarcity of naira persists. The report.
The Supreme Court ruling of March 3, 2023 that restored the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes as legal tender till December 31, 2023 was not enough to convince Nigerians of the legality of the old naira notes. Queues are still seen in front of banks and ATM points even when there's no guarantee of getting cash or even depositing the old naira notes.
I don't even know whether old money still exists. I have never seen any up till now. I'm right here in the bank. Even if I can withdraw and get the old money, I will be very happy. I went to pharmacy the day before yesterday and asked if the pharmacist can collect the old money. He said no, he cannot collect.
They are telling us that no money in the bank. And if we say you go to ATM, POS, they will charge you 300 for 1,000. So the life is unbearable for us now. They show it in the television that they should start collect 1,500. But in my area yesterday, we take a woman take 1,000 to go and buy something. They rejected it. They reject the old 1,000 naira. She came back. So I don't know what they want to do now.
Traders are not finding it easy as well, as transactions are almost grinding to a halt.
Since the Supreme Court judgment on the 3rd of March about spending the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes, we are at the popular Area 10 axis to ascertain if traders have started accepting the 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes. We're about to find out.
I'm not sure because I spent it on Saturday. This is old naira notes, 500 naira. I spend it on Saturday and they don't collect it. That's why I said they have not. So that we can even test it. We just walk to the shop, buy something with it, whether they can collect.
Because if I collect old money, I don't know where I want to go spend them. That's why I know they collect old notes. People say, boy, didn't know come out to talk, say, made them collect old notes. That's why anybody no agree collect. Yes, because now bank, if you carry old note to go bank, they know they collect. But if I carry old note to go bank, then go collect for my hand. I go collect them for shop. I'll go put them for my account for bank. But now if I collect, I don't know where I can go spend that. Up to now I have old notes, almost like 20,000. I don't know where I want to go spend that.
Traders at the UTC market in the FCT say collecting the old naira notes is a risk they're not willing to take. They appealed to government to act fast to alleviate the current hardship. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Gunmen on Sunday killed Reverend Musa Hyok and his two sons at Ganawuri community of Riom local government area of Plateau State. The police public relations officer in the state, Alfred Alabo, confirmed the incident to journalists on Monday in Jos. Alabo, who said that the slain cleric was a priest of the Church of Christ in Nation, added that he was killed on Sunday morning. Song Moro, the youth leader of the community, alleged that the incident was a reprisal attack following the killing of 3 Fulani youths in the community. Moro said that bodies of the pastor and his sons had been buried amid tension and tight security in the entire Ganawuri axis. The police command in Ebonyi has declared 10 persons wanted in connection with the murder of Chief Ibokwe Ewa of Umu Ezekwa community in Eza North local government area of the state. This is contained in a statement signed by the command's public relations officer, Onome Onowakbo Yea, and made available to reporters on Monday in Abakaliki. According to the statement, the wanted persons include Samuel Onyekachi Aligwe and Peter Orogu, known as One Boy, Nonso Obasi, and Ikechuku Nwoba. Now others are Chukudi Alewa, known as Eza, Chika Ezeligbo, Nemeka and Egwede, Champagne, Wambuke Oko, and Ugobuchi Agbom, aka Okiri. The command appealed for information from the general public on whereabouts of the wanted persons. The Yobe State government has lifted the ban on the use of motorbikes in 7 local government areas of the state. The special advisor to the governor on security affairs, Brigadier General Dahiru Abdusalam, retired, who stated this in Damaturu, said that the lifting of the ban takes effect from 6th of March 2023 in Bursari, Damaturu, Gaidam, Gujba, Gulani, Taramua and Yunusari local government areas. According to him, the motorbikes are to operate between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. daily, adding that they are not to be used for commercial purposes known as achaba. Abdusalam maintained that there should be proper registration, licensing and documentation of all motorbikes and riders in the affected local government areas by the Yobe State Road Traffic Management Agency and the Yobe State Vehicle Licensing Authority. He noted that there will be no inter-local government area movement with motorbikes, adding that security agencies have been requested to monitor and ensure strict compliance with these directives. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at improving women's health via digital media. Details of this and more after the break. Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Treated a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
That's great. It's good to see you.
Thanks for staying with us. This is the news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at the top stories again. Atiku Abubakar, People's Democratic Party leaders take protest against election outcome to INEC office. 3 days after Supreme Court judgment, traders still rejecting old Naira note. A federal high court in Kano has granted a 500 million naira bail to the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Alhassan Ado Doguwa, who was docked before a magistrate court on charges of arson and murder. Doguwa was arrested by the police in Kano following violence that led to deaths and arson in Tudunwada local government area at the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections. But counsel to the accused, Nuraini Jimo, applied for an ex parte order before Justice Muhammad Nasir Yunusa to grant the accused bail based on alleged infringement of his fundamental human rights and absence of jurisdiction by the magistrate court that had remanded the accused. Jimo contended that since the accused was charged with culpable homicide and illegal possession of firearms, the magistrate court lacked jurisdictional powers to remand Doguwa. Justice Muhammad Nasir Yunusa, upon hearing the application, granted the bail with the condition that the suspect must provide 2 sureties, one of which shall be a first-class traditional ruler, while the other must be a permanent secretary at the federal or state civil service. Now, amidst concerns over the use of digital media to circulate fake news, a young health worker in Gombe State is using the digital platforms to sensitize women on health matters that affect them. Zainab Usman, who is a member of the Islamic Medical Association of Nigeria, Iman, a Gombe State chapter, produces health podcasts to educate women on healthy living. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Zainab Usman is passionate about public health enlightenment. As the secretary of Sisters Wing of the Islamic Medical Association, Zainab produces a podcast in Hausa language codenamed Taskar Lafiya. According to the young health worker, the Hausa podcast, which is being shared on WhatsApp platforms, is making a lot of impact in public health enlightenment.
We help educate the masses concerning how they will promote their health and how they will prevent themselves from disease conditions, because we see that if the people of the society are being educated on how they will prevent themselves from illnesses, the number of troopings that we have, or the number of people that will be coming to the hospital will reduce. So then we came up with these activities and we designed it in such a way that we only do it in Hausa language so that we meet the target, because we are targeting people at even the remote areas. So that's the activities that we don't normally do. And what we do in that activities is that we look at the current situation, that's the contemporary issues that is worrying people as at that time. Then we make an audio and then we broadcast it. So we had even wanted to air it in the radio stations, but it was not possible. But what we have been doing was that we do the audio and then we share it in WhatsApp groups so that people get educated on it.
The management of Gombe State Specialist Hospital acknowledged the contribution of the Sisters Wing of Iman and the positive impact of the health podcast to the people of Gombe.
The Taskar Lafiya, what the takes to look at relevant things that the women particularly need and is being delivered by women, I think it has a lot of impact, particularly to the women folk and also to the children, and in terms of parenting, in terms of trying to ensure that the women are provided with adequate information that will take care of that will help them to improve their health and that of the children. And I think that has gone a long way to improve the health-seeking behavior of the women and the children, and I'm sure it has a positive impact on the health generally, because that's the area where, to some extent in quote, is being neglected.
For Zainab Usman and her team members, the Taskar Lafiya podcast remains a powerful platform to educate people about health issues and help them take preventive measures against diseases. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
President Muhammadu Buhari has criticized the current structure of the global financial system, which places an unsustainable external debt burden on the most vulnerable countries. The Nigerian president cautioned world leaders that the huge debt burdens will make it extremely difficult for LDCs to meet the 2030 agenda for 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The president spoke while delivering Nigeria's statement to the UN Conference of Least Developed Countries in Doha, the capital of the state of Qatar. Kehinde Amodu reports.
There is a growing consensus that the developed countries have skewed the global financial system against developing and vulnerable countries of the world. Statements coming out of this conference seem rather helpless, as all they do is appeal to these developed countries who by their actions have worked against the resolve to close the gap of inequality in the world.
We don't have a moment to lose. Least developed countries are being stranded amidst a rising tide of crisis, uncertainty, climate chaos, and deep global injustice. They are unable to keep pace with lightning speed technological change. Systems are stretched.
But it seems the Nigerian president has a solution that could work if adopted by countries at this conference. He is proposing that developed and developing nations should grant duty-free and quota-free market access for products from the world's 46 least developed countries to ensure their integration into regional and global value chains.
It is the hope of Nigeria that at the end of this conference, the Doha Program of Action will lead to the increase of exports from least developed countries through the facilitation of their access to foreign markets in line with World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement.
The question to ask is if this proposal can work.
Well, I think it shows certainly that, Nigeria is a major country in the world, and diversifying our partnerships around the world. And this is very, very important in a globalized world to have the support of, different groupings. And the least developed countries groupings is a very important group of countries, and so his presence here I think is an opportunity for Nigeria to increase its not just its visibility but its partnerships.
The UN Secretary General has captured the dismal situation in the least developed countries of the world, where health, education and social protection infrastructure are getting worse by the day. Sadly, these extreme conditions are being replicated in countries that term themselves as developing. In the face of such deep challenges, the UN chief is insisting that vulnerable countries of the world need a revolution of support from all stakeholders. On the president's team to Qatar, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Now, on the foreign scene, at least 12 civilians were killed on Thursday in an attack by suspected terrorists in northern Burkina Faso, local sources say on Monday. Another resident put the death toll at 14, with several injured people succumbing to their wounds in the days following the attack. The attack was confirmed by a security source who said that operations are on the way in the area without giving any details. The day after the attack, a curfew was introduced in the entire northern region of Burkina Faso, bordering Mali and regularly targeted by terrorists. And that's it for the news update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.